Hi, this is Frank Buck, and this is the place to be if you want to get organized and make it look easy. And today I have a special guest, my friend Jason Womack. Jason, welcome.
Thank you, Frank. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this episode.
And Jason, as you and I were talking a little earlier, the reason I'm having you on is because the blog post this week that people are reading, it's all about how to get our young people hooked on that lost art of writing handwritten notes. And when I think of writing handwritten notes, you're the first name that comes to mind because you're really one who walks the walk. So let me ask you first, how'd you get started with this practice?
Think somehow as kids, when we received something, our parents sat us down and we had to write a thank you note. And I'm not entirely certain that when that began for me. Was it when I was 4 or 6 or 14? But what I do know is I have, and this is where if we were in front of a large group, Frank, I would say, hey, raise your hand if you've ever received a thank you card. And I promise you a few people would raise their hand. And then I would follow it with, raise your hand again if it's still on your desk right now. And what I have found is that too many people that I've worked alongside, that I serve alongside, that I know, and I've got one on my desk right now. So what I found was when I sit down to write a card, yes, there's probably some imprinted information from my mom. She's awesome. She taught that to me. More than that, though, Frank, is the, I hope, benefit that it continues to provide to the folks out in front of me. Why do I do a card a day? I have people ask me often. I write a thank you card a day. Some of those cards, they are to simply maintain a connection with someone. Maybe I saw someone who said something on one of the social media sites. Maybe someone did a favor for me. Other times, Frank, I'll write an anonymous thank you card. I will see someone who's doing something in the community. I will see someone who's doing something in the world. And I do. I pull out, I've got cards at my desk all the time. Some of them say hello, and then some of them say thank you. And what I'll do is I'll handwrite a gratitude note. And at the end, I don't put my last name. I don't slip a business card in. Frank, I don't even put my return address on the front. Literally, I am simply pausing for 5-7 minutes. I'm going to steep, kind of like a great cup of tea, in gratitude. And then I'm going to put this thing in the mail. And it's cute, Frank, because people will always say, well, if you don't put your return address, how will they know who sent it? And I'll go, who cares? I mean, really, at the end of that process. So I guess for those of you out there, start with the people that you can write a note to. Just start with a parent or a child or a colleague or a neighbor. And I'm curious if you would want to reach back out and let me know, or Frank, you can filter in all the responses. But I'd love to know two things. One, how did you feel while you were writing it? And two, did the person who you sent it or gave it to mention it after the fact? It could be a neat experiment.
That is amazing. That's amazing. And now, speaking of which, just within, I guess, the last week, I saw on Facebook something I thought was very interesting that you put. Could you share that with us?
So I am. And for the folks, if this is the first time that we've met, when Frank says that when he thought about cards, I was the first name that came to his mind. It's true. I'm that guy. And so about a week ago, I went to Facebook and I typed a very simple status update. I said, hey, if there's someone in your world who you think could use a handwritten note, please private message me their address and just a little bit about them. And I got 11 people. Actually, I got 11 addresses. One person sent me 4, right? Hey, if you don't ask, you don't get.
That's right.
And for those, Frank, what I did was there was a bit of a pattern to it, but I just wrote, dear Frank, And then I just let my imagination roll. I wrote about the weather one day. I wrote about something else. I can't remember. And then about halfway down, I said, your friend Kelly let me know that it would be okay to send you a note. And I'm just here as one more person on the planet. And then I did just a little bit of what I would imagine might potentially lift someone up a little bit. And then at the end of that, I did sign it JW. My thinking is, Frank, if I tell you that Kelly said that I could write you a note, who are you going to have to call?
I got to call Kelly.
And you gotta know who's this JW guy.
Yeah.
That's the product. The product of the product. The outcome that my heart is hoping for is that Frank and Kelly get a chance to connect. That Frank and Kelly get an excuse to talk about something other than division, which right now in an era of physical distancing, we are yearning for some kind of social connection. And if any one of us can be an excuse for that, you have my permission to handwrite someone a card to see if that helps broker just a little bit more connection between you and that other person.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Jason, I've just got to share with our audience. I went and looked it up today. You and I met on November the 12th, 2012. It was at, I knew who you were, and I read in the newspaper that you were going to be speaking at a breakfast. It was a free breakfast. And when you get free and breakfast in the same sentences, you've already got my attention. And when it said free breakfast, Jason Womack, I thought, I just got to go. And of course, I knew I'd seen your picture. So when you walked in the room, I was probably the only person in the room who automatically knew that's the speaker, that's Jason. So we met that day. And then not too long afterwards, you sent me a handwritten note. Now, I don't still have the card to this day, but I have in Evernote, I have a note that's labeled Jason Womack with every significant conversation we've had over the years in reverse chronological order, each one dated. And at the very bottom, in other words, the very first entry on that note is a picture of the card that you sent me in late 2012, where you said something along the line of, let's look at doing something together in 2013. Literally, I took that card and I put it in my Tickler file for about a week out. And then when it would resurface, I would think about what would that look like? And I'd refile it for another week or so. I think finally what we wound up doing to start off was a guest blog post on your blog. And it has just grown from there. I think probably all because of that note that took you, 5 minutes maybe to write? And look at the relationship it's fostered. Of course, at that time, I lived in Alabama. You live in California. Now we're both Alabamians. And I notice the Alabama pin you have on your jacket right now that I gave to you when you came to the state. So, Jason, how can people find out more about you? Because I hope everybody watching this is going to want to add you to the people that bring joy to their life.
Super easy on all the socials. If you go look for Jason Womack, there's one guy that will continue to come to the top. But please reach out, whether that's via LinkedIn or via Twitter or just an email. My email address, I'll just give that to you so you can all hear it. It's jason@jasonwomack.com. Super easy to remember and easy to spell. And no, seriously, if there's anything that, if this conversation has sparked an idea or a thought in your mind, take a risk. I think we can change our world by slowing down just a moment and look at, maybe it's not a handwritten card, it's a phone call. Maybe it's not a phone call, it's an email or a text. Frank, can I leave folks with one challenge for the day? Would that be okay?
That would be super.
So here's the challenge, should you choose to accept it, is to go to your messages on your phone. Scroll through the messages until two people's names you lock eyes with. One, someone that you think, I wonder if they could use a boost. I wonder if they could use me just saying hi. I wonder if they, and then send them a note, thinking of you.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next one's going to be a bigger challenge. Find someone that you could ask for help, that you could ask for a boost, that you could let know that you're facing a challenge or a hardship, or you need their advice, or you just need their ear. But that would be a neat challenge, to dip your toe in the water of, let's see what happens if we do socially connect while we're in this era of a little bit more physical distance.
That's amazing. I hope people accept that challenge. You know, I have here a copy of your first book, your bet. You know, and I think this, what we've talked about today, is one small way in which our best can get better. And there it is, autographed from the day that we met way back in 2012. Jason, thanks again for being my guest today. This has been great, and thanks everybody who's watching this today. Please share this with your friends. If there's somebody out there that could benefit from the kind of thing that you're seeing in this blog and on this YouTube channel, please introduce them to me and Jason. So again, just thanks for stopping by today. This has been Frank Buck, helping you get organized and make it look easy.